Hi, welcome to a new art talk. This series is produced by Artifier in partnership with Partial and Culture Fancier. In today's episode, Glodeane Brown from Culture Fancier will lead a conversation with Janice Reid.
Janice Reid is a portrait photographer who received her diploma in creative photography from Humber College. Her photography focuses on the Black female subject, innovations in fashion, and the urban landscape. Hi Janice, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good, Glodeane. I'm perfect. How are you?
I'm good. It's a little cool for my tastes.
It's freezing. It's cold.
So I have some questions for you today. I'm just going to talk a little bit about you and your work.
Okay.
So my first question is, your website is called Fluorescent Beige.
Yeah.
What's the story behind the website name?
It's behind Precious, the film. It's based on a remark that one of the characters says, Joanne, where she goes, everyone's introducing themselves in the classroom, that classroom scene, and Joanne goes, "My name is Joanne, and my favorite color is fluorescent beige," and I thought it was really funny. Beige is something that, a color that people bypass, and I think the fluorescent just brings, and someone's walking with fluorescent socks while we're speaking about it right now, but I think it just gives you an extra special pop, and it just also opens up the door to talking about Precious and how Black women are represented in film.
Mm-hmm. Which is a huge part of your artwork.
Yes, exactly.
Black women in media and in photography.
Exactly.
Back in January, which feels like so long ago.
Ages.
You were one of the featured artists in the inaugural Caribbean Art Fair in Jamaica. So can you just tell me what it was like being part of that, part of the exhibition? What was the experience like for you?
That was a blessing. Before being approached to participate in CART, which was headed by Karen Carter, founder of CART, and I was surprised, I was honored, and plus I felt like it was kind of serendipitous because I wanted to go to Jamaica. I've been longing to go to Jamaica for a very, very long time. My mom, she's getting up there in age, and we haven't been for 5 years, and I think it's very important for people, Jamaicans and the diaspora, to connect to home. So I was feeling like it was that time, and when I got that invitation, it just solidified that I had to go on this trip to see my family. Like I mentioned, it's a blessing. Meeting the people that I got to meet there, other artists, and seeing the work that Caribbean artists are doing. Also being a part of a fair that is showing that Caribbean artists from the diaspora and from the Caribbean do have a space in art, in art, making art. I don't think that we don't really have that type of focus or that type of highlight on us. You'll just have the name of Blackness, right? And then, then you'll dig deeper and you'll see that some artists are Caribbean. They're from Jamaica, they're from Trinidad, they're from Grenada, or they're in British, but they're, British Caribbean. These spaces are very important for us to show that we belong in these spaces, that we have people who are doing these works, and we need to be highlighted. And also going and getting a chance to go to the National Gallery of Jamaica, where I feel that, and which also solidifies what I mentioned, is that we feel that us as Caribbean people, or people from the diaspora, that we don't have a space in art, that Black people don't have a space in art. Visiting the National Gallery and being part of CART, it made me really proud. It really made me happy. It's just, that experience also just, I guess, brought breath into what I'm doing, is I'm on the right track.
Yeah, so during this time, how has the pandemic affected your creative practice, like your photography and your other work?
It slowed down for me, but also I give thanks for that, because I think it's very important to take time for yourself. I wasn't shooting that often during the pandemic. I shot a few self-portraits, so it allowed me to, I guess, navigate differently with my practice that it's not always outreaching and looking for an outside source, but
Right.
also having that solitude and looking within, and focusing on myself as more of the subject in this whole COVID isolation, which is really, really, really good to do some introspective work to look within yourself. I'm still keeping the isolation thing going, not out of malice or anything, but I feel like during this time of what is going currently on in the world, I think I just need to be withdrawn and take a little step back and not be
So there have been
actively
some
social.
positives out of this time then.
Yeah,
It's not been
totally.
all bad. Yeah.
Not all bad.
Yeah. And who or what is inspiring you these days?
I got the Criterion channel
Okay.
during this pandemic, and I've been watching a lot of movies. I've been paying attention to like cinematography and like really great art films. The Color of Pomegranates, gosh, right now the filmmaker is escaping me, but that film has really inspired me. Just the colors, the staging, the tableaus, just how the framing of the imageries that like really that medium has brought a lot of inspiration just for me and my work and trying to get to that level of doing film.
Nice.
Working up the courage to do moving pictures.
Okay, nice. Yeah. And then my last question from the first set is, so if money is no object and you have all the access in the world, what is your dream project you'd like to work on?
Oh gosh, my dream project. Now I sound lame because like I don't want to be like I don't have a dream project, but then someone else gets the project that you always wanted and you're like, damn, that's my dream project. I don't know. I'm gonna say at the top of my head, probably like I don't want to say something super cliche, but she provided me a lot of strength, and I'm going to sound cliche. Anyways, Beyonce.
Yeah, that's like the
I'm
goal.
sorry. My dream project right now for me on this level where I'm at is to shoot for a major Canadian publication, because I think that they don't really, for fashion, they don't really look towards their own here, right? I don't want to always be like my greatest opportunity is going to be in America, and it shouldn't be, because I'm here and I'm talented, and like you need to look towards the people in your own backyard.
So our last part, we're just going to do some quick rapid fire questions. So just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. So what are you currently reading?
I am reading Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Piccola.
Okay.
And I'm also leafing through because I don't know if you follow her, the Hood Healer.
Yes.
On Instagram, and she's like preaching out all about love by Bell Hooks, and I'm just like, yes. I'm rereading the book and I'm highlighting. I'm like, yes. I gave my copy away to a friend that I met during the pandemic, Andrea, and I just had to reorder the book because I'm like, I need it, but she also needed it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone needs that book. Like that book is like a primary book for your library. If you want to know just about like loving as a spiritual practice, right? Loving other people, loving yourselves, and tapping into spirit, like Bell Hooks is on it.
And what's the last movie you watched?
Color for Pomegranates.
Okay. Going back to our previous.
That's cool.
What's a song that you're really into right now?
I like that you put the music question in there because I am a music head, but I listen to old music. But this year, 2020, I've tapped into, new music. I opened up my little taste for different type of sounds. But I like Orion Sun, Space Jam.
Okay.
That's what I've been listening to.
Nice. I'll have to check that
New
out.
artists. I like that song.
What's the last art event you attended?
Because of quarantine, is CART. That
January.
sounds so horrible. But then, like, immediately afterwards, like, I was working and doing shoots and doing, and I went to the AGO, but it wasn't like an actual event.
Okay.
And then quarantine happened, and now I'm just peeking my little, coming out of my hermit shell and looking at the world now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, what's the thing you miss the most from pre-COVID times?
my mask, worrying about my mask, worrying about sanitizer, worrying about people being too close to me. God, it's just horrible now.
It's a lot to think of, a lot to process.
It's a lot to process, and I think it also commends of how resilient we are and how quickly we have changed our habits because we had to. But yeah, it is also a drag to also have this thing looming over my head constantly and worry about I think the thing that people fail to realize that with COVID, it's like a public health thing. Like, I have to be careful about who I interact because of the future people who I'm going to interact with. I have to protect my family. So it's just like everyone has to take care of each other at this point in time, right? That's our I guess our civil responsibility is to keep each other safe.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And then before we sign off, is there anything that you want to tell people? One final thing, like where they can find you, what you're working on next?
Sure. Where you can find me, right? Fluorescentbeige.com or on Instagram, my name, Janice Reid. And what I'm working on is really, I don't want to be like, here's all the stuff, but basically I'm just working on getting better with my craft.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our next episode and say hi if you find us on Instagram. See you next week.